Hey everyone, welcome to Proof of News. I am Whit Gibbs here today with my co-host Ethan Vera. Ethan, how you doing, man?
How's it going, Whit? I haven't got any 6x DeFi tokens, so probably not as good as you.
Okay, just keep my mouth shut. Just keep my mouth shut. It's a
I
beautiful
slid in
day.
for I slid in for a couple like 2x's, but
It's a beautiful day for everyone out there. Hope everyone is doing well on this lovely Thursday. We've got some awesome news to cover in the wonderful world of Bitcoin mining. First up, we have a story involving Crusoe. Big deal on the landscape for them. So, what's up with Crusoe, Ethan?
this was probably the most positive news that came out this week. Crusoe partnering with Equinor. Basically, they're a state-owned multinational gas company out of Norway. I think they're like 10th or 11th biggest in the world right now. So huge gas company. Crusoe is partnering with them on the flared gas side. So basically, they run all these sites, specifically in the Bakken and North Dakota. And as we've talked about on the show before, this flared gas contributes to a lot of environmental harm. There's usually a regulation cap on how much you can do of it. So they're partnering with
Yep.
Crusoe to then, turn that wasted gas into Bitcoin, which is super sweet for the space.
Yeah, and I think the jury is out. I'm not sure if Equinor is actually a mining company or if they are a character from Lord of the Rings, but we'll see. No, I mean this is great. This is great news. Like the impact that this will have on other major companies starting to really look favorably on Bitcoin mining as a way to circumvent some of these regulations and to make some money in the process. Right, I think is going to be huge. It takes a domino like this to fall before inevitably more follow. There is a ton of people that are just like chopping wood in the United States, trying to get meetings with the right people, selling their little projects here and there. And I don't mean that in a way to throw shade. I know they're working very hard, and there's some sizable deployments out there. Crusoe is just well capitalized, well connected, and I mean the benefits of those two things show in this deal for sure.
Yeah, it just brings legitimacy to everyone in the space because if
Absolutely.
Equinor does this and starts mining Bitcoin, all their competitors are now like, what are they up to? What are they doing? And let's at least have a conversation around this. Maybe we'll invite the GAM guys in, or the Crusoe guys, or Steve
Yes.
Barber in, and have
Yeah.
a discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. And it gets to a point where it's no longer an option for the other players, right? If you're beholden to, if you got a fiduciary responsibility, your shareholders to provide gains, and there's the ability to generate more revenue through something like this, as opposed to costing you money or negatively impacting the environment by flaring or venting the gas. This is a no-brainer. And there's a lot of people that I think see this change coming. It's awesome that it's starting to happen. So hats off to Chase and the Crusoe team for landing this, and I'm excited to see what comes from it from here.
Yeah, same. I think they also just got a new CFO, so a lot of positive momentum over at Crusoe. In a time when
Yeah,
there's not a lot of negative press on Bitcoin mining companies. So good, we got some positive ones this week.
yeah, it's nice. It's nice that things can be positive. I mean, it's everyone should be making more money. Like, can we just like have a little fun right now while Bitcoin's price? I know it took a pretty hard hit today. We're down like 5%. It's like under 11K again, and everyone's calling for 9.8. But I mean, let's enjoy this a little bit. We don't know how long this is going to last. Let's just be nice to each other. Stop fucking suing each other and making everyone file defensive patents, and let's just have a good time.
Yeah,
Um,
agreed. If everyone can make twice as much money, I think we can all agree on that. That's a good thing.
yeah, twice as much money, half as many lawsuits. We're good to go, right?
More smiles, more high fives. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like a crypto convention of hugs. That would be super fucking weird. But, anyways, in some other news, DMG is launching a mining management software solution. Uh, One of many that are coming into the market. There are others in the enterprise space that are launching them. What's your take on this segment of the market, if you will? These products.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rely on you here because of the expertise you built up at Hashrate OS. But DMG is a publicly traded company based out of Canada. Actually, they're actually located a few districts away from me in Vancouver here. They recently came out with a publicly available miner management software. They were using it in-house in their facility in BC, and now they're releasing it publicly. Like you said, it's following suit of other companies that have done it, like Core Scientific. Genesis has done it, where they were running their own miner management in their own facility, and then they decided, why not, productize this and turn it into a software product. We were talking earlier before the call, and I haven't actually used any of these products yet. Really, the only products I've used are Hashrate OS. I've played around with MinerStat before, and I've spent some time looking at Hive. So I don't know if these products are that robust or competitive, but I think it's good that there's more competitors coming to the space. When I went to get miner management systems in early 2018 at our facility, it was like $5 an S9 a month. You can't tack on $5 to an S9 a month in cost. So
yeah, I mean, it's okay. So it's a bit like throwing some water in the ocean at this point. I think that there's so many different solutions right now. I mean, Hashrate had one, right? We had Hashrate OS. We took it offline because for our business, it made sense to pivot focus towards something that was more profitable. I admire people who think that they've built a better solution and they're going to put it out. And I'm sure that they all think that there's some great new bell or whistle that they've built in. But at the end of the day, what I think that they're going to realize is that margins are so thin right now. When they get out and they try to start selling these software solutions to the mining facilities around the world, most of them don't give a shit. There's not a solution that's so good that it's worth them cutting into their profits. And that may be hard for people to hear. I know it was tough for us to hear when we spent so much time building and working and developing on an operating system. And then you get out and you have conversations and you'd like to sell an operating system like, Hive. They found creative ways to price, but it used to be $2 for, you get a couple of rigs for free or whatever. And then it's $2 a month after that. That's a lot. $2 a month for an ASIC. I mean, a lot of people don't think that $2 a month is a lot, but when you're talking about that tacked on to a facility that maybe has 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 ASICs on a monthly basis, that is not a small expense for them. And it perks up their ears and they pay attention. If you decrease that by $1, now your margins as a company are less. And yes, they may think that that's okay, but still $1 is a lot. There are some people that come in with solutions that are 20 to 30 to 50 cents per ASIC or per rig. And then what happens is you get in this situation where it's a race to the bottom. So your benefits of developing something that is really cutting edge and can provide a ton of value and marketing that externally diminishes, because why spend that money to then just provide the edge to other people? So there are a lot of facilities now that are just building their own software in house. Like Core Scientific did it with Minder, and they've talked for a while about like how they're going to market it externally, but they haven't. And there could be many reasons why they haven't. But my sneaking suspicion is they haven't, because they understand that like to spend the money to market it externally to see very little returns is not as beneficial as just keeping that edge by keeping it in house. So I don't know, man. Like DMG putting something else in the market. I've only seen screenshots. It doesn't look like anything special, but I have not used it, so I can't say for sure. It looks very similar to the interface of a Minder or of a MinerStat or of a Hive or of a Hashrate OS, the first version that we had out, right? They all have very similar looks, feels, iterations, and UX UI nowadays is somewhat familiar across the board for all of them, right? So it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. I like the landscape itself, and I know there are others that aren't announced yet that are getting ready to release. And every time I hear of one, I just cringe a little bit, because we've done it, right? We've done it, and we had a good launch. We had great traction, and it still just didn't make sense, So I don't know. I wish everyone success in everything that they try to pursue in business. But my perspective as someone who went down that path and pivoted, just be cautious and don't marry your product if it's heading the wrong direction. That's all I got to say.
No, those were good takes. It's a competitive space for sure. Do you think we'll head into a pricing model where they like tier it? It's really weird to me that it's based on like per rig, because it actually adds like very little, probably no cost to the actual software provider per rig. you would think they'd tier it like 100 to 500 rigs is, $500 a month, and then 500 rigs is $1,000 a month above. Like how long before it's like that type of pricing model, do you think?
Whatsminer, I mean, some people price it like that, right? There are like Whatsminer prices like that, and a lot of people use Whatsminer. But it depends. I think like the dev fee model might work better too, right? Because that's something that ASIC miners are familiar with. But when it comes to the tiered model, I know like it's very hard to squeeze margin out of it. So when you're looking at what's going to be profitable for your business, you'd think software is scalable and you're always going to be able to make a ton of money. But it's a finite pie that you're fighting over. Like this isn't something where you can spend money and acquire customers, through Google ads or whatever the case may be. There's not a lot of people who are in need for the services that, 15 or 16 other people are providing. So tiered models would be, I mean, could help. But I think that, Whatsminer with their solution, they've probably got that. The people that are interested in that model covered.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Just, best of luck to DMG. And I know they got a lot of other things going on too, right? There's a lot that they're coming out with. And I think that, one thing not to overlook is that this is a standalone product, may not be the best line, but as a value-added service to complement other products and services that a company is going to release, I think it's fantastic. I think that if you're able to do that, you're able to benefit the customers that you're serving or that you hope to serve in a new way. And great. That's something that, I mean, everybody wants, right? No one's going to ever say, please provide me less value. So, yeah.
Do you think in that regard, unless you're like maybe a prop mining firm, that you should be looking at the ecosystem play if you're a mining company?
I mean, I think if you're any company in today's world, you have to be looking at an ecosystem play. It's very difficult to stay narrowly focused anymore. And especially in Bitcoin mining specifically, it seems like everyone's trying to vertically integrate, right? Because everything is so new. Everyone is competing with everyone else on everything else. I was talking to somebody from Binance today, right? The need for them to get into the mining pool space is a good example of that. I think that the ecosystem play is the only play nowadays as a business owner.
Yeah. Don't talk to that Binance bull guy.
He's a very nice guy. We'll have him on we'll have him on a podcast to talk. But yeah, man, look, the mining OS space and the management software space is like, I think very similar to the pool space. Like yep. My question to you is like, how do you feel, or what are your thoughts when you see a new pool launch?
Yeah, we're getting into the podcast space now, down the rabbit hole here. I think it's similar to the operating system or miner management space, where it's very commoditized, and it's really hard to stand out as a mining pool. Really, mining pools compete on fees now, and so it's a race to the bottom, similar to ASIC management software. I think in the future, obviously, we talked about this on a mining pool panel recently, which I think will be released on the Hashrate podcast soon. So listen into that. But we talk about what it'll take for mining pools to compete in the future.
Jesus, that's what it'll take. Okay, getting back into the news though. Inner Mongolia, right? Big news coming out of Inner Mongolia this week. So Ethan, what's the word over there for the poor miners in Mongolia?
Yeah, the government of China's Inner Mongolia, basically they canceled the preferential rates, electricity rates for miners. So that's going to increase their electricity costs by around 40%. I think it was Thomas or somebody was reporting, it was, I think maybe Poulin actually, was that rates right now are around 3.8 cents USD. So that means it's going to increase to around like 5.4 cents per kilowatt hour, which, as we know from all these reports coming out and talking to miners, that 5.4 cents is, getting in that space, that's not that competitive anymore. So that's, I think, a huge hit. Cambridge reports that area of the world has about 8% of network hash rate. So this is a pretty significant move. You're taking 8% of the network hash rate and throwing it into an environment that, may no longer be that competitive. So definitely something to watch out for, and is a big impact on the industry.
You're getting Wenatchied. Right. That's It happens. Why do you think though now they're doing this?
I don't have the inside scoop, but I think to your point on Wenatchee, like it's really important to build relationships with local governments. Maybe in the States, that's just like not being rude and like being forthright with the government. But in China, maybe that's, I don't know, paying them off or something. However, business is done there. I think that ultimately that local government relationship is the most important relationship you have as a mining farm. It's so much more important than federal or even like state level. So I think in this case, like they probably didn't pay their dues. They probably pissed off the wrong guy. They weren't giving back enough, and then they got slapped.
I mean, this is there's opportunities in this, right? And having a conversation earlier today, I was made aware that some of the miners in Inner Mongolia are looking to move their machines elsewhere. Obviously, because of this, it's a hike. Like that's not a small increase. That's something that can turn you from a profitable enterprise into needing to get out of the space entirely. So there are people that are looking to move, and it appears that Canada is providing a nice home for some of these machines that are going to migrate out of Inner Mongolia. I'm sure that there's going to be some facilities in Kazakhstan that benefit from it as well. It's there's just, I mean, there's always going to be a home for miners that are looking to move. There's plenty of cheap power, and like China doesn't have, I mean, anymore, right? They don't have the best rates, and it's not as competitive as it used to be to mine there. So, I mean, there are benefits for sure, but it's not so much that you're gonna, let the government double your power and just eat that. So, I don't know. How do you think that this plays out for the miners in Inner Mongolia?
Yeah, I think your analysis is right. Like they're just gonna, set up shop somewhere else. Especially like it just creates an uncertain regulatory environment, which no one wants to deal with. Maybe they hiked it to 5.4 cents, today. Who knows if it goes to 6.4 next year? So I don't think that's something miners really want to deal with anymore. And like you said, we're in a time period right now where there's an oversupply of hosting space. There's too much hosting space and not enough
Yes.
machines. That could flip in a year's time, but that's the current situation today. And so it's perfect for this move because there's all this ample space in North America, Kazakhstan, for these miners to move into. So it's not a bad time for them.
I had a really interesting conversation today with a miner from Paraguay, and I mean the podcast will come out in a couple of weeks, but um, they have the second largest dam in the world on the border of Paraguay and Brazil, and he was walking me through how easy it's been for them to get set up down there, the rates that they're paying, and for anyone who doesn't know South America, like Paraguay's a pretty stable country, so it's not like Venezuela. But it's fascinating to me. You're absolutely right. There's so many facilities looking to host equipment, not enough equipment, and I have a feeling in the very near future there's going to be a ton of demand for the space itself that would love to have the equipment to purchase in place. So
Yeah.
somebody get on that. Let's get some chips going, please, for love of God.
You and I know how quickly that can flip because in early 2018, it was the exact opposite. You could not find hosting space in the US. People were like begging you to take their machines at whatever rate, 12 cents a kilowatt hour. And so if we see another period where we get into like those kind of outsized mining returns and hosting space fills up, we could see that again. Maybe not 12 cents a kilowatt hour, but definitely above what I think standard now is, which is around that 6 cent range for kind
What
of
do you
retail.
think about some of the facilities that are, taking I mean, it's more of a partnership deal, right? Instead of charging the, set cost per kilowatt hour, they're decreasing that and they're profit sharing with miners. What are your thoughts?
It shows maturity in the industry that we're, getting more innovative in the solutions. As a mining hosting site, it makes sense that you want to offer different types of packages. 2 years ago, every single person offered the exact same solution. You're just paying a cent per kilowatt hour, and that's it. And so now people are getting more innovative, splitting financing, splitting revenue, profit sharing after break even, a bunch of really cool things that, or maybe some of them are more bespoke, but I think it just ultimately provides a better and healthier ecosystem.
Maturity all the way around. Bitcoin's growing up. It's so nice to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
All
I've seen a
right.
couple of those deals take place where it's like, I'm going to send you 5,000 S9s or something like that. And then basically any profit over the electricity costs will split.
I mean, that makes sense, especially for those machines. It's, I mean, people have to get creative. Like you said, there's a lot of hosting space that's out there. So, I mean, it's only good for places like that to compete. It's better for the consumers, better for the miners. So that will continue. I'm sure we'll start to see better and more attractive packages. Okay, so let's get into. You want to talk about rig prices and what they're looking like right now, or you want to get into hash price?
Yeah, let's jump into rig prices. Some pretty big movements today. Let me just share a screen here. So we got the latest on the rig price index here. Quite a few movements. So new gen's up 2.3% week over week. Second gen's down 1.5. Third gen's down is up again. Wow, up again another 7.7% here, and old gen is down 6.2. So this third gen has just had an incredible rally over the past couple of weeks. Was at $7 a terahash and now is almost at $10 a terahash. That's like the S13, S15 type of class. So, pretty dated, but I think a lot of people are trying to get their hands on those these days.
Pretty dated. What are they? 18 months old? Oh man, no, I mean, right now it's the time, right? Every machine should be on. We've been waiting for this time for years, so it's good to see that these prices are continuing to go up. What are your thoughts on this? Like, where do we go from here, considering this 5% drawdown in price today?
I think that manufacturers are set. So there's not going to be a lot of changes in the new gen. Obviously, they can't flood the market more than they already want to and has been announced. And then I think the second-hand markets is where you see like the reflection of Bitcoin price right now. So I think the rig price is really there's this misconception that it's Bitcoin price that drives the value of rigs, but it's really like the value of hash rate, which is obviously affected by the price of Bitcoin. But it's people looking at that payback period, looking at how fast, if I buy an S9 for $40, how fast can I pay it back? So I think like that drawdown in Bitcoin price and the fall in the value of hash rate is going to create a fall in value of rigs on secondhand markets. So over the past 7 days, it's been relatively stable. It's down about 2.3% right now, the value of hash rate, but I think that will be reflected in rig prices in the secondhand market, especially with like a lot of that came obviously in the past 24 hours with the fall in Bitcoin price. Now we're under 11K. Your boy Davey Day Trader is not doing his job.
Fuck that guy. Come on, Dave. Pump it. He gets the COVID and he just can't hack it anymore. A weak old man. That's all it is, Step up to the plate. I'm wondering if that's a green hammer that he carries or a cane because he's geriatric and he can't stand anymore, Let's go, Dave. Let's go, Dave. Pump the price, Dave. Anyways, look, there as we move on from this, God, man, I hope his trolls don't come after me. Some other news coming out of Asia. Whatsminer's chairman steps down. There's a lot of thoughts behind why this is occurring now. But what's the news, Ethan?
I think you and I first talked about this 2 weeks ago. We were considering, bringing up the rumors of him stepping down on one of these proof of news shows, but we hadn't confirmed it. So we figured we better wait. So it's been circulating for a couple weeks now, some rumors, and it seems like it got officially announced now, where he is stepping down. He was the chairman at MicroBT, the company that builds the Whatsminer machines, and he was also previously at Bitmain and is largely credited for the success there. Some of the earlier models he played a pivotal role in. So I think it's a big hit to MicroBT if he actually leaves from like an operations standpoint, because he's obviously a very impactful person for a manufacturer.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But like you said, it's super unclear. Like, how far away is he stepping from the company? Is this more just like symbolic? What are the reasons? I don't actually have the answers. I'm not sure if you've talked to Thomas or Christy on this. They probably have a better sense.
I haven't, I haven't talked to either of them about this. There's so many things you could speculate on. I mean, from a personal level, I can't imagine like getting in actual legal trouble the way that he has. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's easy to speculate. It's hard to know for sure. And I mean, I'm sure that the real reasons behind it will never actually be known. My question to you though is, does this impact Whatsminer in a negative way, or are they set and ready to fill that new void and keep it moving and maintain and continue to grow the way that they have?
I think so. I think it affects them negatively. Like 2 months ago, people were of the opinion that Whatsminer is going to really easily surpass Bitmain. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think there is going to be a continued competitive battle between the two ASIC manufacturers over at least the next year or two. Even with the divide in Bitmain, they're still shipping machines, still placing orders. So I think there's still a force to be reckoned with. And the chairman stepping down from MicroBT is definitely, not ideal in that competitive environment. So I think this race is far from over. And that's not a bad thing too. Like, we were really mad about Bitmain having a monopoly over the mining industry for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Do we really want to go to Whatsminer? Everyone loves Whatsminer, but I guess like we really don't want another monopoly. So I'm kind of rooting for Bitmain and Canaan and eBang and all the rest of the manufacturers, and I think it's better that they're competitive.
Yeah. Have you heard anything? Speaking of competitors, has there been any more information on Strong U? Have you heard anything else about that since the announcement?
Not since the announcement.
Right? Nothing. Like pre-orders or nothing. Weird.
Yeah, it's weird.
Well, and there's also there's another ASIC that's floating around, right? That's been alluded to in Telegram groups, and we've talked about it on this show, and I don't nothing from that either. Like, the fuck, guys? Like, let's put something out. If you guys are going to talk about it, be about it. Let's see some machines, okay? Like,
Yeah.
let us put hands on stuff and test it.
Did you see the Whatsminer M40 scam a few days ago? It was circulating that Whatsminer just released the M40, like 410 terahash, 2,500 kilowatts. Like,
yep, I saw that. Yeah,
I looked at it. I was like, wait a second, let me just redo my math here. What's that efficiency? What's that dollars per terahash? And I was like, there is something so suspect about this.
410, like 400. Like, what's the M30S at on its best day? Like 410 is like 3.5x that.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, it's really the power ratio. Maybe if they had a power of 8,000 kilowatts, 8,000 watts, I'd buy it.
Correct. Yeah.
But yeah, it obviously didn't make sense. But I think, like, to your point, like, there's a lot of rumors about machines out there. Just make sure that if you're buying machines from a new source, just verify it. I definitely would do heavy due diligence into any new machine.
Check the website. That scam, I remember the website was off, right? So you just like little things that you don't think about when you're smashing the buy button because you're excited that you're going to be able to mine more Bitcoins than everybody else.
And there's a lot of like reseller sites that look exactly like MicroBT. Make sure you go to the official MicroBT site. It should pull it up in Chinese, and you'll have to translate it to English. If it's already in English and there's only 5 products listed there, it's probably a reseller site. And maybe you trust those because you have a personal relationship with one of the resellers, but definitely proceed with caution on those.
Oh, the good old resellers. I'll save my opinions there. Yeah, look, it's a needed business, and I'm happy that there's people that are out there and able to service the people who need to get machines up and running right now. So can't hate on them too much. Last big piece of news, which is really exciting, great for North American mining, I think super positive. I'm sure you have some feelings on as well, is the news coming out of Foundry, DCG's mining Are they a fund? Are they a subsidiary? Like what is the Foundry exactly?
I think it's a subsidiary. It's DCG's fourth. DCG has built quite the business in Bitcoin. I think Barry Silbert was one of the original really uh, guys advocating for Bitcoin maybe 7-8 years ago, and he's
Yeah.
built quite the enterprise now.
Yes.
DCG owns Genesis, which is obviously has done well. Grayscale, which we all know is blowing up spectacularly, stacking more Bitcoin than any other funds. CoinDesk, which I think some of the best reporters in the space work for CoinDesk. So they've built
They do.
quite the suite of um, products and services that kind of complement this ecosystem play. And so DCG Foundry is the latest subsidiary in that, focused on mining. And from kind of their press release, it seems like at first they're going to be really focused on ASIC miner financing. I know
Mhm.
they've done a few loans already in North America where they give debt financing to operations. They take ASICs as collateral, and they help people scale up. They also play a role in the actual acquisition of machines. So they have a relationship with MicroBT. Will buy up some MicroBT units and then try and spread those across their financing clients. I think other than financing, they also mentioned like staking services and other like setting up mining, you know, services like that.
It's interesting. The team is great. Kevin is awesome. Kevin Jang, Mike Collier, a very very nice guy with a lot of experience, formerly with Core Scientific, and he's been with Foundry now. I mean, since their inception, I think it's coming up on a year, something like that. Um, so, okay, they were given $100 million. Presumably, that 100 million is to reinvest in the ecosystem. I mean, I assume they're not going to deploy that 100 million into uh, scaling their own business. It seemed from the press release that they've got like a Foundry Labs, which is presumably similar to an incubator or an accelerator of sorts, and then some other business lines. So, I mean, what does this mean for the ecosystem as a whole? I mean, do they become like an Outlier Ventures or another fund incubator for the mining space?
I think it's positive news for North America at least. This is probably the biggest player that's come into mining in like a taking a lead position in mining, maybe ever in North America. So it's a huge balance sheet they have access to. Like you said, Kevin's like I think one of the smartest guys I know in the mining space. So having him on the team with that backing is, I'm excited to see what they can do. Um, I don't know the entirety of what they're doing. I know the press release. I saw their LinkedIn job post, so they look like they're hiring some research analysts, some software engineers, some staking research people. So I think by the profile of the people they're hiring, you can start to get a sense of the type of products they want to build. But I think they're really just getting their start here. So they'll probably kick off with the financing. I'm sure they'll get involved in mining either themselves or through like clients that end up going like bankrupt or get called on their collateral. And then from
Aren't
there,
they
who knows where they go to.
aren't they mining? Are they not mining already? Did I like
I
wasn't that like step one was to like be a mining company before you I don't know. I thought that was how they like I thought the Foundry started as DCG Foundry started as a mining company first.
Yeah,
Uh
I think they definitely have mining operations. I think financing to date has been a bigger focus for them.
gotcha.
But as we know, like even if you underwrite very creditworthy miners, this space is so volatile. The value of hash rate is like 3 times more volatile than Bitcoin price. So even in that, like even if you underwrite trustworthy partners, there are going to be facilities that go underwater, and DCG will have to take control of those ASICs and mine with them, which obviously having somebody like Kevin will be quite easy for them to do because he's helped scale up places like Greenwich before. But so I expect them to play in pretty much every area of this ecosystem.
There we go. Well, that's I think a good note to end on. Big players coming into the space doesn't get any more bullish than that. So from here, Proof of News, I'm Whit. This is Ethan. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you guys again next week. Thanks for watching this episode of Proof of News, a Hashrate TV production. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing for more great content like this every day of the week. In addition, feel free to leave a comment below and let us know what you'd like to see discussed on the next episode of Proof of News. We'd love to hear from you. Also, if you head over to hashrate.com, you can sign up for our free weekly newsletter, Difficulty Adjustment. Every Wednesday morning, we provide you with the latest news and information on Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, and mining. Plus, each week, one newsletter subscriber will be selected at random to receive a free Ledger Nano S cryptocurrency wallet. So go ahead and sign up today. Who knows? You may be the next lucky winner. Want more from Hashrate? Follow Hashrate TV on Twitter. It's the easiest way to keep track of our newest content all in one place. That's at HASHR8_TV. Thanks again for watching, and we will see you very soon. Please remember that all content appearing on this or any other Hashrate channel is strictly for informational and entertainment purposes only. You should not construe any such information as legal, tax, investment, financial, or other advice. Consult a licensed financial advisor before investing yours or anyone else's money.